Hi everyone, this is Rosa Kelly, and today I want to start a new tutorial for you, and I'm going to be making a folio mini album as my design team for Country Craft Creations, and I'm going to be using the beautiful Gypsy Rose paper collection by Photoplay. Now you will see that this paper is so adorable. It's very girly and very fun, so super pretty. You can find it on Country Craft Creations. I'm also going to be using some of the ephemera, and we'll be using 110-pound cardstock, as well as double-sided tape, scissors, glue, and all that fun stuff. So let me get started, and I'm gonna grab my scoreboard here, and I'm going to grab one of these sheets. Now my sheets measure 8.5 by 11, and I am going to score at 6 inches, just like that, and then I'm going to score again at 8 inches. Okay, so this is gonna be one side of my folio. And so this folio is going to have a 2-inch spine. So this is actually the front of my folio. So my folio is going to be a very thick folio. It's going to be almost like a mini album, almost like a double folio. Like I want these to be able to collect lots of pictures. So now I'm gonna grab the second piece, another one here. Okay, and I'm going to score this one at 6.5, 6.5, oops, and at 8.5. Okay, so this part, as you can see, it's a little bit wider. So the first one was at 6 1/8, and this second one is at 6.5 by 8.5. Okay, so now we have these two pieces like that, right? So we're gonna grab the first one and have the 2 inches on the left, and then I'm gonna grab the second one and have the 2 inches on the right, and we are going to do this. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna open that. This side here, I'm going to add some double-sided tape. I have a very thick double-sided tape here, and oops, kind of got stuck. So I'm gonna add my tape all along, and I'm gonna join this piece. Let me make sure I'm in frame here. Okay, I am. And I'm gonna join this piece with this one. So again, I'm gonna add another one here. Cut that off. Okay, and of course you can use glue if you have glue. So I'm just using what I have here, and so I'm gonna put this to the side like that. And so when I'm gonna put the 6 1/4 side down here, and make sure it's even and straight. And then let's see here. Okay, so and then I'm just going to take off this tape that I have on the side, 1 and 2 pieces. Okay, so now we have something like this. Okay, so this is gonna be the base. So this is how our album is going to close. I'm going to add some magnets on this flap here. So now these, I intend for these to be on top of this small flap. So I'm gonna add first the magnets along here. Now I'm only using small magnets because that's all I have. So I'm gonna be using probably 4. That way, you know, I make sure it's strong. But if you have bigger magnets, then of course it will probably be better. Okay, so I'm gonna be adding them kind of along a line here. So I have 2, and then 3, and 1 more. So another option, if you don't have magnets, is you can always use a piece of Velcro. And the Velcro you will add after you add, you cover the paper first and then you add the Velcro. And if you don't have Velcro, you can always use a piece of ribbon, something, just anything that you have hanging around. So I'm probably gonna use the magnets here, and I might even add a separate piece of seam binding just in case, if my album gets super puffy. Okay, so I'm going to add the magnets there the way they should be. And so the way I add my magnets is, then I'm gonna grab another piece of double-sided tape, and now I'm gonna have the sticky part up, and I'm gonna grab the magnet on the direction that sticks and just place it on my tape, and then I put it back. And then when I close it, this sticky part will just get attached to the other side, and that way you know exactly where your magnets are. Now you can also do it with glue, but I find out that when I add glue, at least what has happened to me is that the glue takes a little bit longer to dry, and I ended up having the magnets not attaching, and to me it's just a mess. So I'd rather do it this way. So again, so now we're gonna make sure before you close this that your spine is perpendicular to the page. That way, you know, it's not flat. So then we're gonna do something like this. Okay, so now I have that side and this side as well, and then I'm just going to wrap it and make sure that my tape is sticking, and then I'm going to open it, and voila. So now our base is ready. So it's gonna, okay, there you go, it's fine. So now when you know, now we know exactly where our magnets are, and then we are not going to kind of mess it up by adding extra flaps and things like that. So now we know how it's gonna stay. So now for the inside, I never actually have a plan on how I'm gonna do it. I just like having fun as I go. So if I make any mistakes, please just bear with me. So I'm gonna score this piece at 6 inches, and I'm gonna score again at 7 inches. Okay, so I'm just adding a flap here, and I'm gonna trim this at the 7 inch. See, this is what I mean by I'm kind of designing as I go. You can definitely cut it to 7 first and then score 1 inch. Okay, so that is going to be one flap. So I'm going to fold along my 1 inch, and I'm going to be using some double-sided tape. Now if you have, I like doing the 1 inch because it provides, you know, a bigger area to be attached. And if you have like the smaller tape, you just add 2 rows, right? Or you can add glue. You can use your glue. Okay, so now this piece, the 1 inch, I'm going to place on the left spine. Okay, so I'm going to peel off my tape. Let's see here. And let me see, this is a little bit bigger from that I'm used to. So I'm gonna place the 1 inch flap along the score line. So I have the first score line and the second. So I'm gonna put it along the second score line like this. Okay, so let me make sure that it is even. Now if you're not really used to the double-sided tape, I think glue it's probably better, because the glue you have a little bit more time to manipulate before it dries. So again, so I'm just making sure this is even on the top and the bottom, and I'm just removing my tape. Oops, my tape broke. Okay, so I get this. Okay, so then I'm just removing this tape. Okay, so now we have our separation at 1 inch. See that? Okay, so this folio, I intend this to have lots of flaps and fun things, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab another piece, and I'm still just working on the skeleton of my little folio here. So I'm gonna cut these at 6 1/4. Okay, like that. And now I'm gonna score these at 1 inch again. So 1 inch. Okay, so we have a little flap, and then I'm gonna grab the other side, and I'm also going to cut these at 6 1/4. Just like that. And again, I'm going to score 1 inch. Oops. Right here. Okay. So I'm gonna move this and put this one in here. So now this is the one that we just added, and now the one that we cut, I'm going to put one on the top here. So again, I'm going to be using my tape. Just like that. And I'm also going to be adding it on this one here. Whoops. On the flap. Okay. So I'm gonna peel off this tape, and then like I said, this one is gonna go along the top. Now the back here measures 6 1/2, and this measures 6 1/4. So make sure you are centering this piece. Okay, so that goes there, and now I'm going to do the smaller one on the bottom. Okay, so that takes care of that. So now we're adding another flap here, just like that. How fun. It's gonna get more interesting, I promise. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab another piece, and again I'm going to score at 6 1/4. Okay, and then I'm gonna score this again at 6 3/4. Okay, so I only have a 1/2 inch here, and I will cut these at the 6 3/4 line. So on that second score line, that's where we're going to cut these. Okay, so now I'm going to use again my double-sided tape. This time I'm gonna use the 1/2 inch one, just a small one, and I'm gonna put it along my flap like that. And now this piece will go on this side here. So remember, we put this one on the left spine. We're gonna put this one on the right spine, and again this little flap, we're gonna make sure it's near the first score line here on this side. So you have the first and the second. We're going closest to the center. So I'm going to remove my tape, and again closest to that. Make sure it's even and straight, and we remove this tape. Okay, so now if we look at this from the top, we have the first one with the 1/2 inch here. It's hard to see on the black paper, huh? See this one, 1/2 inch, and then the 1 inch is here, like that. Okay, so that way they don't overlap. That's what I'm trying to show you. But then when we open these, yeah, they're gonna like spread up like so, and then up and down. Okay, so I'm gonna use another piece of cardstock, and I'm gonna score this one at 5.5 inches, and I'm gonna fold this right down the middle, just like that, where we score. And I'm going to do the same with one more sheet. So again, I'm gonna score down 5.5, and I'm gonna fold this right at the score line. So now I have these two, and then I'm gonna use a piece of, let me see, what is this measure? So I'm just using one of my scrap pieces, and I need to cut these at 8.5. So I'm gonna cut these 8.5, and these measures, let's see, like 2.5. So I'm gonna score this piece right down the middle at 1.25. If you have a piece that measures 2, you just score right down the middle. So this is gonna be a connecting piece to these two right here. So I'm gonna use one, just gonna add some tape right there. Cut these out, and I'm gonna add tape on the other side as well, just like that. Okay, so then I'm going to attach this to one of the sides here. So I'm just gonna place this and make sure it's level and straight. Right there. Again, you can always do this with glue. It's just whichever you prefer. So I'll take that out. Take this out all the way. Okay. So make sure again it's straight and even. Just like that. And then I'm going to place that other one. Move that to the side. So place the other one on this opening on this side. I'm kind of creating an accordion fold. So I'm going to make sure that these are lined up. Okay, and then I'm going to take off this tape. And here we go. So now we have a piece that is like so. So I'm going to make sure this is even, and if it's not, then you go with your scissors and you make sure it's even. And yep, so okay, so that's pretty even. So now these two sheets that I have here, I'm gonna use another piece of 8.5. Let me see, what is this measurement? Perfect. 8.5. This measures 8.5 by 1.5. So I'm just gonna score these right down the middle. I'm just using any of my scrap pieces. As long as it measures 8.5, then we are okay. So I'm connecting these to one of these sides again. Now this is gonna go in my folder here. So I'm gonna place it along one of the sides. So I wanna make sure that you are attaching it to the single side and not the side that opens. I don't know if that makes sense, but okay. So I'm gonna again add some double-sided tape or glue, anything, whatever you are using. And I'm just using the 1/2 inch now because this one, it's a little bit smaller. And I'm doing the other side too. Okay, just like that. And then again, I'm gonna peel off this tape, and I'm going to attach this to the side of my page here on my folder, on my folio. Okay, so you make sure it's straight and aligned. And then we take off the tape. Again, you make sure it's in place. And then I'm gonna take off the other side, and I'm just gonna attach my little accordion fold to that side. Like that, and I'll remove that. So, and then this will close up like that. And so it opens up like this, like that, or you can open it all together. So that is the first page. Now, for this side, I'm going to use another piece of cardstock. See here. Okay. And again, I'm going to score these at 6. That 6.5 and 7.5. Okay, 6, 6.5, and 7.5. And I'm going to cut these along that 7.5 score line. Okay, and then I'm going to fold this along both of these score lines, and on this one, the 1 inch, I'm gonna add my double-sided tape. Okay, and this, it's going to go, so we have the flap that went to the right. This one I'm going to glue or attach on this side here. So first I'm gonna hold the 1/2 inch flat, that way I can line this edge, and then that's gonna be our gusset for this fan folio. Okay. I love making folios because they are very interactive. Easier to make, I think, than a mini album because you're not doing the whole binding and you're just cutting and scoring. That's all you do. Okay, so now I'm gonna make sure this is standing up. As you can see there, now we have this 1/2 inch gusset. So now I'm going to use another piece of my scraps here, and I'll tell you what this measures. So this measures 3.5 by 8.5 right now. So I'm going to score 1 inch, and I'm going to score 1/2 inch. Okay, and I'm probably going to give this a good 6 inches, or a score at 6 inches, I mean. And then I'm going to cut along that 6 inch. Okay, so what I'm making here is a closure for the piece that we just added. So I'll show you how that will go. So I'm gonna fold along the score lines again and use my tape. Oops, there we go, right there. Okay, and then this little piece that we just did here, we're gonna open this, the one that we added with the 1/2 inch gusset, and I'm gonna place this one along the middle here on this side. So don't touch your spine. This here is your spine, so you're gonna keep it on the page that moves. Okay, so I'm gonna remove the tape and try to center this up and down. And you don't want to go right along the edge. Give it a little bit of room, just like that. And then we're gonna take off this tape. So I'm giving it about 1/8 of an inch. You see that? From the score line here. Just in case, I don't want this to get super tight when we close it. So now this will close up like that. So what I'm gonna do now is add a magnet for closure. So I'm gonna grab 2, and again I'm gonna use my double-sided tape. So I'm gonna open this flap, grab my tape, my magnet, and place it right there. And then I'm gonna put the other side with some sticky tape. Okay, so now before you press hard into this, make sure that your 1/2 inch gusset is perpendicular. You don't want to smash that. Okay, so now where you know where it's sitting, now you can press. Okay, so there you go. So now I'm gonna press this again, and so we have kind of like a little folio inside our folio. And then we have this one that we did previously, and then this one that has this long accordion fold. So lastly, on this side, I want to add an accordion, and a waterfall. So I'm going to put this on the side, and I'm going to grab another sheet of paper here. Okay, so I'm going to cut these long ways at 4.5 inches. Whoops. 4.5 inches by 10.5 inches. So I have a long piece like that, and I'm gonna score at 1/2. Okay, and then I'm gonna turn this around. Sorry, did I say 1/2? No, at 1. I'm gonna score at 1, sorry. Turn this around and score at 1 again. Okay, so I have these 2 1 inch on each side, and I'm gonna fold this and that. Okay, so then I have a piece like this. Now on this one is where we're gonna put our waterfall. So now I cut out a 4.5, the width here, which is going to be almost the width of my page. So I'm gonna cut this one at 4.25, okay, by 5.5. So basically you're dividing the page into 4. Okay, so I'm gonna do that again. Grab another page, cutting at 4.25 by 5.5. Thanks. 5.5. Okay. So I have 8 of those pieces, and those are going to be the components of our waterfall. So along the 5.5 side, I'm gonna score at 1/2 inch, and I'm going to do the same for all of these pieces. 1/2 inch. So now I'm going to fold along the score line for each one of these. So now I'm going to add my tape on each one of these flaps and start to build my waterfall. Okay, So now notice that this measures 4.5 and this measures 4.25. So you want to make sure it is nice and center. You don't want to put it against the side because then you will have all these left over. And then also, since I have about an eighth or of an inch on each side, I'm going to leave a little bit of space here on the top as well. So I'm doing this with tape. You can of course do this with glue. I think it's easier if you do it with glue. So I'm adding this one here, and again we want to make sure it's straight to the side and to the top. And then I'm just going to take off this tape and keep it there. Okay, so I'm going to continue adding the next ones. So this one is going to go right there, okay? But before I do that, I'm going to turn this around and add tape on these 1 inch flaps. So I'm going to add one here and one here on the top. Okay, and then like I said, I'm going to open this one up and start building my waterfall. So here we go there. I'm just going to do one more and take off. I'm just taking off a little bit of the tape, that way I can still adjust my waterfall. So before you glue it completely, close the one on the front and make sure it's aligned, just like that. Then I'm gonna hold it and take off this tape. It's much easier with glue. So okay, so I'm just gonna continue adding them on. Okay, so I am done adding. So remember I had 8, so I'm adding 7 here, and I think they look pretty even. So now the last one, instead of adding it on the bottom, I'm going to actually add it the other side. So this one will go like this and kind of be a closure for this waterfall. So what I'm going to do is kind of do the same thing that we did for the first one that we added, but this time we're going to put it along the bottom here. So again, you want to make sure it's even to the sides, and I'm leaving just about an inch, an eighth of an inch space on the top. So now we have that. Okay, so now I'm going to put these ones down, and this one is going to be the closure. So that means we're going to add some magnets there. Again, if you're using Velcro, you can definitely do that. You just want to make sure you cover your paper first. So these two, let's see, they kind of overlap about an inch here. So I want to make sure I put my magnets at least along this 1 inch. So I'm just going to place, I'm going to use 2 magnets, because after we add the pictures, this is going to be a heavy waterfall. So I'm going to just place those 2 and my double-sided tape like that, and then I'm going to toss these 2 in there and kind of do the same thing here. So let me actually take them out. So I'm gonna place the sticky side up and put one and the other one. So that's where they're gonna go. And then I'm gonna make sure this is nice and flat and close it. Okay, so let's make sure our magnets are still in place. All right, and now we're ready to add this into our waterfall. I'm sorry, into our folio. So I'm gonna place this one on the back here of the right flap. So let's see here. I'm just going to remove one of the tapes, place it along the center, and open this up. Okay, let's open that up, make sure it's flat, and place it along the center, just like that. Take off this tape, and then I will do the same with the one on the bottom. The one on the bottom is usually much easier because it's already placed. So here we go. Okay, so now we have our waterfall on the back of that page with, you know, room for lots of pictures. And then we also have a pocket behind our waterfall, as you can see. So now I have a piece of 8.5 by 6 inches, and I score at 1/2 inch again, and I'm just going to add my tape along this flap here, and then I'm going to add this in my folio here. So I'm gonna open this page up, and I'm just going to add this right along the top. Okay, so again I'm gonna remove the tape here. Okay, there we go, and I'm gonna put it right along the top to create another fun flap up like that. Okay, so then we have this up, and then this closes up like that, and because we have a 1/2 inch gusset here, I think we have room to add one. So I cut another piece, and this one I cut it at 6 inches here, and this measures 6 by 8.5, and then I scored 1/2 inch, and I added my double-sided tape just like we did on the other one. So then I will add this. I'm gonna fold it, and then I'm gonna remove this tape, and I will add this along this opening that we just the one that closes up here. Okay, so on the inside. So again, I'm gonna make sure this is lined up right there, and then I'm just going to remove the tape. Okay, so then we have an opening here, and then an opening on the top, and then this will close up like that and close with that magnet. Now on the side here, so this is the center that opens up and down. I did add a magnet here as well, so that goes like that. So on this side I want to add a pocket. So I'm gonna grab a piece, and I just have a long piece of scrap here, and I'm gonna use this one. So this measures 4 by 11. So I'm gonna cut these at 9.5. Okay, and I'm gonna leave it at 4. So this now measures 4 by 9.5, and I'm just gonna score 1/2 inch on this side, 1/2 inch here, and then 1/2 inch here, and I'm going to mite the corners like so, 1 and 2, and then this is going to be a pocket that I'm gonna add on this side. So again, I'm gonna fold along the score lines and add my double-sided tape. That and that. And then this page, or this pocket, is going to be along here. So this side is the back of that accordion fold that we did. Now before I glue this in, I'm gonna add some ribbon, which is going to be the closure for my accordion pocket. So I'm gonna use a little bit of fabric glue just right on the center, and I'm going to place my ribbon there. Okay, and then I'm actually just going to add some glue here along these flaps, 1 and 2, and along this side too. Okay, so put a gentle amount, and then this I will put along the edge. Okay, so that's gonna be a pocket, and now we're adding this ribbon as a closure. So now I'm gonna hold this for 1 second with these paper clips just so it doesn't come up. Maybe one more here. Okay, and then I'm gonna give my ribbon some room here, and much, and I'm gonna add more of that ribbon on the other side. So okay, so this is kind of clipping here, but so this will open up like that. Hold on, let's put this there. Let's put that there. Okay, so then when we open this flap, this accordion, I'm gonna need the ribbon kind of like here. So I'm gonna add this. I'm gonna make sure this is closed, that way I am lined up, and I'm gonna add a little bit of fabric tack and just leave it right there. And then when we add our paper here, this is going to this will be covered. Okay, so for right now I'm just gonna add some tape so it's not moving out of place. Okay, and then again I'm just gonna give it a little run and just cut that right there. So this is going to be the closure for this little accordion, and of course we're gonna cover this all with paper, and I'll trim this in later. So I want to make sure my pocket is dry, and get this out, and here we go. So then we have a pocket, we have the accordion fold on the other side. Over here we have the opening up and down, but I feel like here I can probably add 2 more flaps. So I'm just gonna use these pieces that I have here. Did they make sure that, no, these are not even. Okay, never mind. I'm just gonna cut a new sheet, and I'm gonna cut these. Okay, so long ways like this at 6 inches, and then I'm gonna turn this around and cut at 5.5. So now I have these 2 pieces that I'm going to score again, 1/2 inch on one side along the 6-inch side, okay, and 1/2 inch again. And then these 2, we're going to add the tape, and these are going to go on one on this side and the other one on this other side, just like that. Okay, so let me start with this one. Okay, so just a little bit off from your score line. You don't want to put it right on top of that. And then I'm going to remove the tape here. It's a little bit hard to see. So, all right, and then for this one, I'm just going to make sure it's lined up, and this bends on these lines. So again, making sure they're even, and like that. So now I have these 2 flaps on the bottom, and this closes up like that. I have a waterfall here, a pocket here. This closes up like that. I have this other folio in there, closes up like that, and then these closes up like this. And of course I'm gonna trim this later, and then finally, oh, my magnets. These will close up like that. So all we have to do now is just add our beautiful paper and cover everything up. So I'll be back and show you the end result of my album. I am actually gonna be using this one for my daughter's birthday pictures, because oh my gosh, she loves the color purple and she is going to love this image here. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it is so young and so refreshing, the guitars and everything. So please visit Country Craft Creations to get these beautiful collections, along so many others that they have. And I'll be back, like I said, to show you. And I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.